Hello, hello, hello. Oh, let's see what we got today. Let's see if we get old boy in here, see if we can't figure out what his problem is here with this painting. He might be busy, but spur of the moment live stream. See if we can't help a friend out here. And let's try to adjust this. Let's see. Which camera is it? I don't even remember. This one. This button. Yeah. Okay. Camera. Ah, there's our zoom. Let's see. Let's on this little guy some here. Yeah, we sure can. Okay. Um, uh, let's pop this open. Pop that open. All right. So, got a friend that needs a little help. He's not here, which is okay. Yeah. So he's having trouble with. Hang on. Where are I? I so he's having some trouble with loading his paintbrush. So we're gonna go over what I do. And we will use a good brush and a bad brush. It's the most important thing right here. All right. So in my crummy wet palette here, it's a little damp, not super wet, but we'll try to add a little bit of water, a little more. Everyone's wet palette's a little different, but you can see I got a good little amount of water in there. And I prefer to use cold water. It doesn't evaporate as quick as like lukewarm or room temperature water. So I use cold water. I think it makes the moisture last longer. And I like to just put my palette straight on there. And the kicker for me, see if we can't capture some of this. There we go, that's a little better. So you can see that extra water is pooling up onto the palette, which is fine. I kind of like to have a little moisture, just kind of make sure it's flat. And that extra water, just kind of rub it in there. But I like to kind of squeegee this. And you can actually have way too much water on your palette. So if that's the case, pour just a little bit out. Let's turn this light off too. Let's see. What's up, Jimmy? So this palette's a little oversaturated. You can see I like to just squeegee it. Chad asked me a question today, Jimmy, so we decided I'd just go live and go over how I do things with loading my brush and stuff. So if you're late to the game, we added water. We added, oh, there he is. Hey, bud. So we added our fluids, put in our paper. See how wet the whole thing is? Super damp. I kind of prefer it super damp, then I don't have to thin the paint as much. But I do like to squeegee a lot of the excess off of there. So I like it really damp. Squeegee that shit off some. Kind of see how wet it is. Sometimes it's too much. Like I said, if it's too much, I'll just pour a little extra out. Yeah, you can see what that thing is. The dampness. It's bugging out. Let's try to reset this piece of crap. So, oh, it's bugged out hard. Hold on. What a piece of shit, huh? Let's see if we can manually fix it here. It's gonna be one of those days, huh? There you go. Yeah, see that wetness, Chad? Oh, no, it's bugging out again. It doesn't like the white. Anyway, squeegee that shit. There it goes. All right. So mine is super damp, Chad. Squeegee it. I said earlier I use cold water. That way it doesn't evaporate as much. Squeegee the shit out of that. So it's super wet, super damp. Try to show you. See if I can't zoom in. It's too much light. All right, so we're wet, right? Squeegeed, we're wet. So I like it cold and wet. And And I go straight out of the bottle with your dad. Let's grab two different brushes here. We'll use cheapies and a nice brush. Just a paper towel. I always leave it off to the side over here. Got my little baby cups of water. Here's how I like to do it. So, like too wet, and if you've seen me in my other videos, I'm always flicking that little extra off, and then maybe even taking this towel some and just barely getting some off. So the paintbrush is wet. That bristle is wet, soaked up, right? Sometimes, now you could see on this, see that dampness? Damn near already thinned it for me. You can kind of see how it's bleeding. So like for me, this is probably already thinned enough because the wet palette is soppy wet like that. So a lot of the times I don't have to add the water to thin, but you'll get this bleed and this will end up trickle trail bleeding all the way to the edge and then it contaminates the whole thing. So that's the downside with that. If you don't want it soppy wet, I just take just a little dab, and then you'd add it to it. You can see how just soppy wet that is, though. It might be a little too wet. Now, for me, Chad, when I'm loading this thing, I'm kind of just dabbing into it, but I'm also rolling it. So I like to dab it and roll this, and load it up nice and good. They say about halfway, but I like to roll this too. That's me, not you. Um, so this is actually pretty thin right now. You were asking how people's brushes. You said your brush is moving too much, right? Well, if your brush is moving too much, you're pushing too hard, right? You're probably pushing too hard, maybe. Now, do the roll, and you roll it out and you wick it off of there. Because if you don't, come on, piece of shit. If you don't, you'll get them blobs, right? So you wick it off of there. While rolling it, I'm twisting this. I'm always twisting this thing off. You do it in your hand if you want to see a little better. I'm like always constantly rolling this and getting that puddle off the brush so that you don't have that boogery blob on there. But it's still like liquid enough to flow well. So mine might be a little thinner than normal, but if you gotta put a second, third coat on, who gives a shit, right? So that's the cheapy brush. And you can tell when it's too thin. So I only loaded halfway up. And my paint right now might be a little too thin because it bleeds back to the metal. So I might be a little too thin. My palette's a little too wet. So you can adjust that. Let's do another take here. Might be a little too. Let's dab a little bit of that. And most of the time, my palette starts to dry out before I start painting. I prep this shit before I hit record, like a half an hour in advance, so might be a little wet off the rip. So we dabbed it. We got rid of a little bit of that wetness. It's still a little wet around the edge. Okay, just kill me. Oh. Good camera. Hold on. Hold on, we're LD. Hang on. Is it any better? What a piece of shit. I hate this thing. Come on. Ugh. Looks like a skid mark. Jimmy's drawers. Well, hang on. Have to touch it. Give me a minute. There you go. Piece of shit. All right. Let's kill. We gotta kill one of these lights. It's too blown out. All right. See, I'm already fucking up. Let's do the good brush. Seen too much water. Seen me do that. Probably seen me do this. Still moist brush. This is still kind of bleeding slightly. A little bigger brush. Load it up. I'm always twisting this thing. Never not twisting it. Thin it a little, add a little drop. Wicking it off of there. That's damn near good. I asked, why is your brush moving so much? Your brush might be moving too much because majority of these guys, they're just barely touching the model. Even I'll just barely touch the model. If you're not just base coating and putting a coat on, it don't look like the brush is moving, right? It looks stiff. Well, I'm just barely touching the model. Just barely touching the model most of the time. Base coat, go ham. Smush your brush on there. Who cares if it's moving, right? It's a base coat. It's the time none of that really matters. So you're just boogering it on, right? And your brush is gonna move. Not a big deal. And if your paint's too thin and it's bleeding, it's fine. It's fine. I'd rather put two, three coats on than one thick one. But let's say you're doing the small little details, always just barely touching the model. That's why no one's brush looks like it's moving. I mean, we're just grazing model most of the time, right? You see no one's brush moving because they're just barely touching it. See if I can get close. It don't look like I'm even touching it, but I am. So these guys are doing little details. The paint flows when it's thinner, and it doesn't take much effort to touch that model. And same with that scratch technique I did on the Hulk. I mean, I was just barely, barely touching it. Where it looks like the brush don't move. You're literally just like that. That's why none of these guys' brushes move. I mean, it's literally that much. Just barely touching the model most of the time. That's why it doesn't look like their brushes move when you're painting, watching them, and always wicking. Some of them guys will wick it on their hand because they like to paint their skin, right? I don't do that. Everything I do is on this palette and rolling it. Always rolling this brush. And you roll it a few times and you should be good. It's hard to explain without being in person, but you obviously know, like, that's too much, right? And just roll that damn thing. Just roll it. Roll it till that booger's off. So, I made a mess. That's not, I don't make normally that big of a mess, right? But, let's say it's starting to dry out now. It's not that super soppy wet anymore, right? This is how it normally should be. That first initial soaking and smearing, squeegeeing it, let it sit like 10 minutes, and that first soaking will evaporate, and now it's just damp. It's not sopping wet. So now that it's not sopping wet, it shouldn't do this. It really shouldn't. It should go on like normal paint, right? Always after washing it, it's soppy. I just flick it because I'm an animal and just barely touch it. That's how I do it. A lot of them guys go home, eat their brush. Don't eat your paintbrush. It's disgusting. Your wet pals be sitting there with moldy ass water and stuff. Don't stick it in your mouth like these idiots on the internet. So, now this ain't soppy wet. Normal conditions, straight from the bottle. The brush is wet still. This does thin it, and you can pick some of that up, load that up a little bit. Most of the time, the water on the brush from what I just did is enough for fresh paint to be thin enough for me. If it's not for you, we can show you. There's that brush again. Keep that point pointy. You gotta rotate it. And this is where the sable ones are tricky. You have to roll it to keep that point. It's so annoying, but you have to do it. And that's loaded, man. It doesn't look blob, doesn't look like a lot of paint on it, but there is. That paint, that paint holds inside of this belly of this brush. That paint's in the middle of that brush most of the time. That's loading it. You load it pretty thoroughly. And wick it off. Roll it out. Who cares if you take up half a frickin' pallet? It's what, 50 cents for a sheet? Who cares, right? Wick it off, keep rolling it till it's pointed. Baby saturated again. So, let's blast the light here. Let's try to get really zoomed in for you. So let's say I want to paint just the edge of that here. Like 2 cents per sheet on Amazon. Yeah. Waste a half a sheet. Who gives a fuck, right? Oh, come on. Zoom in. So when I'm doing this, normally I'm flat on this table and I got both my palms on the table. I could do it up here for you though. So for me personally, I got a pinky problem. My pinky's always stable on something. Normally I'm holding them. I don't have this base. But there's always multiple points of contact for stability, right? I'm trying to get that brush so close without touching. Barely touching it. It doesn't take much. That's why that brush never looks like it moves. You gotta just slow down and be really tight with these hands. Look how tight that is with the hands, right? Nothing's moving but this little tiny bit here. And you just barely touch that model to apply that paint. So you might just need a little more stability control. So all those points of contact, table, 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 touch everything, touch everything. Nothing's moving. Nothing ever moves but these little fingers. right? Barely touching the spot. Now base coating, blob it on there, right? You just blob it on there. It doesn't matter. Base coat. Just base coat this guy up. Let's just get some color on him real quick here. It's the wrong green, but it's okay. We don't care. Let's put some paint on it. Yeah, I don't like to use these real hairbrushes for base coating. I do prefer, again, same thing. I do prefer a shitty brush for base coating. Because who cares if you gotta jab it, stab it, right? It's coming loose. And here's the other kicker. So it looks like you muddied it up, and this is not muddied up. So Vallejo paint, you see the little bubbles and shit? The Vallejo paint does this when it's super thin. It'll bubble up like that, and you think you're putting it on too heavy. You're actually not. Just dry your brush a little. Dry your brush some on that paper towel and touch back over it. The brush will soak that up. But it looks too thick. It looks way too thick. You can wet your brush some. Let's just say you put a blob on it. Let's say I put a booger right there on his mouth. Come on, piece of shit. See that big ass snot? And you're like, oh no. Wash that brush, dry it some, pick that paint up. The brush is wet, so it's thinning as it goes. You can pick that up out of there. You can get that bugger out of there. It's too thick. You can get that bugger right out of it. Don't be scared. So, let's say your paint's too thick. I got some thick paint. This gold for me is constantly thick. Ugh. Let's take a chunk. Obviously too thick, right? Didn't mix it. Didn't do none of that. Let's say it's a boogery thickness. Let's clean this one. Let's say you got a booger and it upsets you, right? So soak that water up a little, like we did earlier. It's super wet, saturated. Just kind of dab that next to it. Roll dry your brush just slightly. You got a little puddle of water here. Just pull that paint over to that little puddle. You can leave that big booger there, but I made that little puddle and just grab a little bit out of that. You can mix the whole thing. Dab the water, put that droplet there, get rid of the excess water, mix it. Still chunky. More water, pretty chunky. I got something that's overall thinner. Might still be too thick though. So, still rolling it, the majority off. Good. Flick it, paper towel, and load your brush in one little spot. We'll see how it is on the edge. Still rolling that thing. It's a little thick, and just a little bit in one spot. Still rolling it. I'm always rolling this stupid thing. Yeah, maybe this is culprit. Again, just barely touching this thing. You've seen them guys before. They talk about stippling. That's the other thing guys like to do is stipple. It's basically dots. You're just dabbing that like dots, basically. Let's just over exaggerate. Right. Over exaggerated stippling. A little water. Stippling's okay. You can kind of just do little movements like that. See, now it looks like I have too much paint there. It's too much paint. This just means there's too much paint loaded on the brush. Roll a little bit off. I don't know if any of this is going to help you, but first coat for me always is light. You can always see through it like that. I prefer it being lighter because I'm always layering. So if you're layering something, it's fine. You have to really get just used to brush control and always drying, cleaning, keeping this thing damp. It's a chore. The palette helps. What you don't see in most of the videos, or at least mine, is me, because my cups are over here, out of view, majority of the time. And you might only see me do the flick and then something over here. You don't know what I'm doing. I'm cleaning, waterlog, flick it, and I'm just barely touching that. As long as the brush is wet, man, keep this brush damp and rolled. Always rolling this thing. That's my technique anyway. You could do it on your palette if you want, right? Let's say your palette's saturated, you got extra water in the corner, you can grab some water and mix it in. If it's just too much, you don't want to wick a bunch off, rip your palette right off, man. Go into a smaller spot. Gotta get used to that roll. Alright, let's paint this guy a little bit though. And I use itty bitty little cups. And I'd say once they get about to that color, I get fresh. So keep your metallics separate, tends to help. Like I said, you can kind of dictate how long you want the brush to be wet or how long you want your paints to dry just by using colder water or warmer water. Sometimes one of my cups will be warm water. Some of the times my other cup will be cold water. But that's kind of like picky, finicky, OCD kind of. We'll keep this here. Let's actually paint now. So your palette will dry out too. I'd say every like 30 minutes to an hour, your palette will dry out. Like it's still wet, it's still damp, but it's always good to have a little extra. A little extra never hurt. You can dab that. You can use that water. You can also see that too. Can you see that? Like it's still too wet. puddles on my hand there. It's kind of a weird in between. You'll have to get used to getting this damp. Keep your brush constantly damp. That would be my suggestion. And like this might be a little thick, slightly thick. It's like a feel, you know? It feels thicker. And when you touch your brush onto there, that brush immediately, definitely the hair ones, immediately fill up with water. Just dab it down a little. Now, here's the weird part with dabbing it. This is overly saturated for the small amount of paint. Clean it off. Flick it, touch it, restart. Don't add a blob with paint on it, add a blob, mix it up. Always start from zero, which is a clean, rolled, damp brush. Load it up. All right, let's actually paint this guy some. A lot of dark first, so let's go back over him. Let's let's do this. Let's go. Maybe 42. If you ever do have too much paint on your brush in your base coating, you can always pull and move that paint around anywhere you want. Because it's all still wet. And let's say I'm running out of paint. I go over to the spot that's wet. The brush is actually going to pull the paint back into the brush. So that's another way guys are getting their models to be smooth. So it just looks like they're brushing it. But a lot of the times, as the brush dries, they're still going over the spots they just painted, and the brush will pull that wet point paint back out. So it's still saturated and covers, but it's kind of like smoothing it over also. It's kind of weird. And you can't do that on like traditional painting. So it's a canvas or paper or something. And that canvas is the one that absorbs the paint. These models don't absorb the paint, the brush does. So it's kind of like the opposite of what I was used to when I started doing these models. So your brush kind of has to be the absorbent one. pull that wet paint back out. And I will say the Vallejo paint compared to the Citadel, totally different. Any and every color you use, it's going to apply differently. It's going to need different ratios of thinning. And some paints are fucking great right out the bottle, man. When painting the sides of the ship, we'd call that drawing the paint out. Helps keep an even coat. Yeah. Already see a bunch of guys, let's say guys are edge highlighting. And here's another great thing. So you see how the brush did that? It started losing its shape. When your brush loses shape like this, mid-painting, it's starting to dry out. So when your brush starts to dry out, and the paint's drying right now, right? Like it dried it and didn't keep its tip. Stop. When that happens, give it a wash in your water, right? Flick it out, touch your napkin, and you're back to a moist brush, and then reload it back up. Do your twist technique. See you, Jimmy. So now we're back. So anytime that point or anything weird happens, that's what I found. So if you're just grazing the model while you're painting, the tip stays pretty well. But the minute it dries out, it loses its shape. And a lot of guys will use the edge of the brush to like edge highlight, right? Like let's pretend it's this nose. Again, I'm touching the model right now, and the brush ain't moving. That's how light I'm touching it. So if you do have a problem with your brush moving too much like that, you gotta tone down the bear claws there and start using those more points of contact. Like I'm a pinky guy. That's my stability. Otherwise I'm be shaky and I can't. I'm still stable, but it's not stable. And the other thing a lot of guys like to do is pull in that same downward direction for that same stability and move that model, say paint a different direction, but always pulling down. So that does help get like the consistency of like downward strokes with just your little fingies and that same motion that you use to learn how to just barely touch this thing. Let's mix a little color. Well, I don't know if any of that helped you, Chad. Now I'll have to send you a link, but Squidmeyer did a video that talks about certain techniques similar. Um, Ninjon did a really good video. That one I liked a lot. And then I forget the guy's name. He also did another one on pallets. So I do have three videos I'll link you. They can kind of give you a little more of a professional, not my scuffed bull crap. But the one thing they didn't tell you was how light they're touching these models, which is why none of their brushes ever look like they're moving. They're grazing the model just so light. And that just comes with the practice, right? Like I'm working with my hands all day, using jeweler saws and tiny little stuff with files and drawing and doing all kinds of shit like that. So I'm kind of like used to it. But if you're rusty or you're not used to it, finding that ability to find your most stable point and getting to be able to just barely touch that model is probably the biggest tip I'll give you. Definitely with the small details. And I'm not like super concentrating when I'm painting this little guy, right? I'm super concentrating super hard. It's just all the stability. I'm not straining my eyes. I'm hanging out talking, right? But if you can get used to just grazing that model while you're painting, you're gold, man. And anytime anything gets weird on this palette, this Vallejo green's always been weird for me. Oh, that was me again. Rinse your brush, flick it, touch your paper towel, keep it rolling. Anytime any of that paint or anything's freaking weird, let's put a new dot. Put a new dot. Do one dab of water. Add it in there. And these ones, they do pick up a lot of water. Dry it off. Then come in and mix. And then roll that freaking brush. Load it up. Keep rolling it. Roll it back to that point. Go in again. Let's zoom in a little more. Look at how much I'm touching this stuff here. I mean, a lot of stability. Just gotta learn that little technique. This just that little bit right there. Not moving in or out. Kind of like locked. Nothing's moving. Edging that just barely closer. And you can start moving this like before you touch the model and like creep your way in to where you're just barely touching it. I go a little faster, but in a good way. You could take one of them little rat models you got, or a little goblin guy like this. Kind of like the Hulk, right? The Hulk was good practice because I scratch technique. I did super light scratch techniques with him. Super light. And that helped a lot with that learning of this light brush technique. Time is it? I haven't got some time. Let's speed through this little guy here. Does he have little feet? He does have little feet there, don't he? Let's put his little feet real quick. Oh yeah, hopefully that helps. I have to see if I can link that. See if I can link those guys' videos for you. Let's see if I can how would I do this? Watch later. I saved them. This one. Share. Copy link. Yeah. Let's see if I can link this to you. See if I can link this. Okay. I believe that's the Ninja one. That's a very solid learning video. And then this is Duncan Rhodes Painting Academy. This is also really good. tutorial. And one more. And this is Squidmire did a pretty decent one too. So anyone's watching, any one of them three is decent. I'd suggest watching all three of them. They explain things pretty well. The only thing they don't touch base on is their explanations of, and I know one of them did before, I don't remember which one, did a video on how, it might have been Ninja, and he's normally pretty solid, on just barely touching the models. I'm just barely grazing these things. It's makes a little lighter green. Again, always doing that roll. And if it's not pointing enough, then just roll it some more. Okay. And sometimes they just don't want to cooperate. Rinse it. Reload that brush. Sometimes they don't want to cooperate. I think any one of them links are good how-tos. Good how-tos. All right. Let's call that good enough for the skin. We did a little quickie on them. Nothing crazy. We'll do a little wash on them here. Get crazy with it. Let's get crazy, huh? A little wash. Just a little wash. Just a little wash will lighten them up some. brighten it a little bit here. Who's that? Who's this? Okay, it was Chad. Let's finish this model though. Let's speed run. Let's speed run it, shall we? Let's speed run. Well, speed run this little guy real quick here. I don't know if any of my tips help anybody, but if you learned anything, cool. If not, that's okay. Go watch one of them other guys I mentioned. I'd probably say go check man John out. I like the way he talks. I feel like he talks more to you. I just kind of speak right now. Just grab some more. Speed run this little guy. Yeah. Okay. Let's let that little guy dry real quick. Yeah, basic little paint job on him real fast. A little bit of white. I hope some of that might have helped. No, I'm never sure. Sometimes the what do you want to say? Um, Sometimes the feel or the paint thinning is just that. It's just a feel. And there's plenty of times, even right now, that I might go too thin or too thick. And it's fine. Just let it dry. Or if it's too thick, make sure to pick it up, back up with your brush. If it's too thin, it'll be alright. Let it dry, go over it again. Not the end of the world. Not the end of the world. Let's pop them off. Oh, yeah, maybe we'll make that purple. You know, why not? Why not? Add a little contrast purple back here. Let's give it a little color. And I'm gonna grab a little white, contrast flesh. And with that white, make a tan. See, this brush is getting crazy out. And if your brush keeps getting crazy on you, it might be time to clean it. Like a proper cleaning. What happens with these brushes sometimes? Or your water needs cleaned. One of the two. Brush needs cleaned or you need some fresh water. dots for the eyes. We'll add a little orange in there. Do just a little highlight on here. A little highlight on the lips. Because why not? While we're here. Add a little bit of that pinkish tan. Echo rose white. Okay. Little boy dry real quick. Hello. If you missed any of our techniques, you can always rewind and check it out, or check one of the video links for other good techniques. Just kind of tidying up this little guy to finish the day off. A little orange here. And another orange. And a little touch up. I'll do a quick little touch up here. Okay. That's good enough now. Let's go ahead and just glue this little guy on a base. Why not? This bottle of super glue seen better days, huh? Let's just glue that down. We're not gonna get crazy. All right, let me get some of this fresh water real quick. Give me 1 moment. 1 moment, I'll be back. All right. Let that little guy dry. Put away some of this crap quick here, boys. And what do we want to do for the base real quick? Mm, what do we want? This? Yeah, we'll just do this. First, while that dries, let's clean these brushes. Here's the other thing. Y'all need to get y'all need to get some of this to clean your brushes. I like these little cups with these ridges. Go up on them. And I like to do this type of loading for cleaning. That access wipe off. Clean again. Upward strokes. Just like when we're loading our paintbrush, I like to roll this quite a bit. Get your brush to a nice point and leave it. Don't touch it after that. Just carefully slide it in your tube. Leave it. Next time you want to use it, rinse it. You're good to go. Synthetics aren't as good, but still clean them. Hold that puppy up. Put her away. And that should be good for those. All right, let's pop this back. All right. You know what? I haven't gotten to use a lot of this. Maybe we'll use this. I like this one. Good stuff. Maybe we'll do this instead. It's a little messier. So let's be a little careful here. And let's use regular super glue. Let's put some on the base here. Let's grab one of our dyeing brushes here. This one's dyeing. And let's get that super glue everywhere. Top of the base only. And crazy here. Let's add some grass. Because why not? We have tons of it. And we'll take another dyeing brush. Slowly dab it down. Let that sit for a minute. Some of that glue dry. Oh, let's bring up a few things here. My other screen died. Okay. Okay. Let that little guy dry some. See, it didn't quite stick like I wanted it to. Quite stick wanted it to. Oh, don't blow. Let's do this. Let's get it all. I'm gonna make it a mess, but it's okay. Everything's fine. It's fine. chill. All right, can't see what I'm doing. Fine. Everything's okay. That crap away. This out of the way. All right. This on quick. Airbrush. Right. Yeah, I'm good with that. What are you doing, puppy? Burping? Hold on, everyone. The dog, puppy dog. What is a puppy dog doing down here? No one can see a puppy dog. Hi, what are you doing? Come give me huggies. Oh, I gotta get the huggy poos. Oh, the huggy poos. Wow, hello. Did you have a good day today? Did you have a good day today? You had a good day today? Oh, puppy dog. Have a good day. Okay. Oh, all right. Oh, okay, he's in a little grass field now. I'll let that dry just a little bit more. But let's add my favorite thing in the whole world before we finish this little guy, and that is blood. Because why not? Right? Because why not? Everyone likes a little blood on their weapons, huh? Nice chunky blood, huh? I like a little chunky blood. Oh yeah, some blood in the grass. That's nice. Yeah, that's good. Nothing like a little blood on. He's got a little on his mouth too. Why not? Maybe he's been battling for a while. Who knows? Who knows what he's been doing? He's been orking. That's always fun. Let's do this too. Take some of this. Then it way down. Then let's do this technique. Just spread a little on it. Splash a bunch on there. That might be right. Let's take a look. Not bad. Oh, bloody one. Yeah, I think that's pretty solid. A little thin there. A little on the eye. Good. That. Let's do a little black now. Brush. Let's use this one. No, this one's too big. Yeah, let's use this one. This one. Yeah, all right. And this one. Let's do this. And paint this. Oh, hey, not bad. Not bad. Let's add one more little detail. Maybe we do have just a little mud. Because why not? Right? Thin it down just a little. Maybe there's just a little bit of mud. Maybe. Just a bit of mud. Some muddy grass now. There we go. That's good. There we go. Treat him up a little bit. Just a quick little guy. Just a quick little muddy orc with some techniques that hopefully helped somebody. Okay, scope it out. Just light light is on. Yeah, little paint job. All right, boys. If you want any more techniques, most of them were in the beginning of the VOD. But if you want to check anyone out, go check out some of Ninjon's. He's got some pretty good how-tos. Squidmeyer obviously has some, and what was the other lad called? Let's go look real quick. The other one was, I always forget because his channel name's super duper long. Um, Duncan Rhodes Painting Academy. He actually does pretty good ones too. I actually like watching him. He's got solid tutorials and how-tos. But hopefully any of the extra little bits I gave earlier helped someone. Hopefully they helped Chad out. Maybe he learned a thing or two, maybe, and watched me with my scuff palette. There's a lot of scuff today, but that's okay. Like next time I get on, I'm kind of in the mood to draw. Kind of in the mood to draw. Kind of maybe might draw some old pictures. Might draw some old stuff here. Just to warm back up, you know? It's been, God, when's the last time I drew? I haven't drawn anything since 2018. So I'm in the mood to draw. So the next video, we'll do a simple drawing, warm back up before we get into any Todd McFarlane crazy drawings that take way too long to do. So next time I'm live, I'll draw a picture for you guys, and we'll see how that turns out. But I think that's gonna be it for the day. This has been Blue Rubble. See you next time. Peace.